He really is doing the unthinkable. Manny Machado continues to become a bigger and bigger baseball superstar as his career goes on. Per a new report from MLB insider Jon Morosi, he is on track for Cooperstown, it would appear. Let's talk about that and what he's been up to specifically this season that has really seemed like catching fire lately, and everything that means for you as a Padres fan. What's going on? Welcome back to another episode of Padres Digest. I'm Christian Pedersen. This is the part of the show where really quick I interrupt just to do the obligatory YouTube thing. Fasky, can you hit the subscribe button? All right, let's talk some baseball now. I will go back to that stat or that tweet or that whatever post to X snippet that we got. Morosi gives an interview on MLB Network talking about the thesis is Manny Machado to Cooperstown. I want to talk about, like I said, I'm going to talk about this first, put this into some context for you, talk big picture awesomeness, but then round it out back into this video with the here and the now of what all this means. Big picture, Padres have some Cooperstown representation. Trevor Hoffman at one point was the all-time saves leader. Generational great, one of the few to reach the several hundreds of versions of thresholds that he has. Tony Gwynn, a 3,000 hit guy, kind of the end of an era. Dave Winfield, Wally Finger. There's some dudes in there. But to say that right now Manny Machado is on pace to have more hits potentially or be in the very, very upper echelon category for all-time third baseman is a pretty astounding feat. That's awesome. That's kick-ass. And I think, to me, it was interesting really diving in to the numbers, and I can show you specifically where he is at this season, stats-wise. This is Manny right here. This is now year 7 of Manny. He has been a Padre for as long as he has been, or he will be at the end, like 88 games or something like that for when he got traded to the Dodgers that season from Baltimore. So this season, at about the 90-game mark, he will have the exact same amount of service time with the Padres as he had with the Orioles, the other team that he has had his longest tenure with. He was a Dodger very, very briefly, for those of you that did not know. But it does not matter in the grand scheme. What I'm saying is that by the end of this season, but Manny's assuming that he finishes out his career as a Padre, but if not, he's going to play at least the next couple of years unless something crazy happens. You can drop a comment below if you think he needs to get traded or something. Maybe there are some truthers like that out there, but assuming that he keeps playing for a little while, he has now been a Padre or will be a Padre for a much more significant portion of his offensive career. A lot of great defensive highlights still, but he was a little bit more of a young defensive flashy arm dude initially out the gate, so really he's most likely would go in as a Padre, but then looking at if he's going to keep hitting the way he's at, per us recording this, he is still playing against the Yankees right now, so I don't want to dial into a specific number. 1926, 1930, 1928, somewhere in that range per you watching this, to give you a feel for where everybody is. Here is the top 5 all-time hits leaders in third baseman in Major League history. You see there Adrian Beltre, obviously somebody that we were all familiar with if you were a Padres fan in the 2000s as his stint with the Dodgers, Mariners, Rangers. He is the up over 3,000 guy. Past that, Wade Boggs, Brooks Robinson, Pie Traynor, and Chipper Jones round out the top 5. It's a steep. I mean, the gap between 2,300 and 3,100 is big. So it's not like once he gets into this top 5, it's just a couple of more knocks. There's several seasons difference of playing time represented there. But Manny at 32 right now, at 1,900. If you kind of extrapolate out the numbers, he could do 3,000. It seems very doable by the end of the career. I don't know about all-time 31, but that would be what he's at projected-wise per Morosi, and I think that is bleeping awesome. I think that Manny gets a lot of criticism and a lot of guff and a lot of whatever you want to call it for never performing quite up to the amount of money that he's owed, only because Fernando Tatis does perform these Herculean feats. Like Manny's just a little less flashy, but like he's still a really good, really fantastic baseball player. And so to have him potentially be one of the next guys that's going to hit 3,000. And I think that number of guys might be dying out a little bit with the strikeout, home run, boom to bust, not going really for hits type of vibe that is taking over with a certain generation. It might be a while until we see consistent 3,000 hit guys. So definitely a story to root for. Very cool to see the national media really taking note of a Padre potentially being one of the best ever, if not the best ever, at a position. Because let's not forget Manny also awesome at defense. Going back, though, to these numbers, what does that mean for us here right now as Padres fans? Like I said, still recording this. They're slipping against the Yankees. They'll probably lose 2 out of 3 there. But overall, a pretty good road trip between there and Pittsburgh. Manny, a little slow out the gate, up over 300 now. If you look historically back at the last 10 years of his career, so that's excluding the first couple of rookie seasons. Well, I think you can always give a guy a little bit of a mulligan. Manny, if you look at the splits, he kind of comes out the gate a little slow and then always picks up steam as the season goes on, and that just seems to be his vibe. So to me, it's like this means all systems goes, because if you look at the last 7 games worth of hitting, he's got a 6-game hitting streak. He's absolutely ripping the cover off of the ball. I think that this also kind of a fun one right here. This stat, Manny apparently, when I say ripping the cover off the ball, really ripping the cover actually off the ball. This is a double that he hit in Yankee Stadium. So to me, that's kind of dope and indicative of when we're talking about him being hits and not the quite full home run boom or bust thing. Like, this is him ripping a double at 114 miles an hour. Hardest that he has logged this season. So what I'm saying, he's hitting better. He's hitting his stride. He's picking up speed. So right now, coming out of a 17-11 last 30 days, the Padres have Merrill back. They have Cronenworth back in the next 48 hours. We got videos on all of those guys, so that's why I say hit the subscribe button, go check it out. But all those guys coming back, and right now Manny hitting the way that he is hitting and projected to, at least let's just talk about projected for this season to keep hitting this kind of way, seems like right now we have survived the bad part of the season. Like, we might have bottomed out. A couple of these losses are real stingers. The pitching staff is starting to figure out the back end, and Manny absolutely tearing the cover off of the ball. I think, dare I say, maybe like right now he is dialed in. I'll show you the numbers one more time. I don't think I will predict this, that he doesn't go back below 300 for a minute. And the only time that he would dip back is maybe, some sort of ice cold streak or random it's baseball regression. But I think Manny up above 300 is going to stay above 300 for the rest of the season, or the vast, vast majority of the season. So I hope you guys back off of Manny a little bit. I'm not going to hit him with the full leave Brittany alone meme, but per some of the comments that I've seen earlier in the season, it felt right to bring up. This is a potential, not a potential, like this is a Hall of Famer and maybe potentially one of the all-time greats. Let's appreciate him while we have him, because we've been blessed with a bunch of seasons of him, but he is still hitting fantastic. He's playing some of his best baseball of the season absolutely right now. So get off the guy's case. He's delivering for us. Let me know, though, what you think. Drop a comment below. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Got tons of content coming for you all season long. Until next time, we'll talk to you guys soon.